Hello all, a Knife Tale here, bringing you a nice summary of a knife I've done a review on. This is the Flytanium Arcade using the Shark Lock by Demco. I've done a review on this one. I've done a comparison to the Demco 8020.5. I'll link both of those down below in the description if you're interested in seeing the full layout and stuff of this. This is just a summary, this is just a rehashing and just a little revisit this knife, because why not, right? More palatable. It'll be shorter, basically. About a 3 1/8 in the blade and 7 5/8 overall. Not going to do all the other specs, that's what the review's for. This knife is in S35VN, on bearings, with the Shark Lock. It's got aluminum, which I don't love aluminum. When aluminum, especially coated aluminum, when it starts taking damage or stuff, it gets dirty fast, and you start noticing like little flecks and chips or trails and stuff like that. A little bit too fast on aluminum. I think either the way it's executed needs to be changed to be less like, powder coaty, or they need to come up with a different type of coating, just to sort of mitigate some of that. It'll keep the knife looking better for longer. Just a side tangent kind of thing. You got an inlay here, and as out of place as it kind of looks, it's first of all out of the way of the Shark Lock. That's kind of why it's there. But it also adds meaningful grip. I do like that. This is actually a positive on this knife, especially considering it's good micarta in this case. They have a bunch of different inlay materials, but it adds a point of grip and control, and it feels good in the hand. Pardon me. It feels good in the hand, and it's a lot nicer than I thought this kind of pointless inlay was going to be. There are a ton of options with this. Flytanium makes aftermarket parts, and guess what? They made aftermarket parts for their own knife. There's you can change out stop pins, inlays, hardware, etc. Weirdly enough, I don't think they have an alternate. They might have some alternate color clips, but they don't have like an alternate clip, which I kind of would like an alternate clip. This isn't bad, mind you, but it's a deep carry clip, and it's not a huge knife, so it's in your hand, you feel it. Not as much choked up, which is fine. And unlike the Demco 8020.5, you can use this choke up position because it's not sort of throwing you into the edge, which is what I kind of felt with the other one. But it could maybe non-deep carry clip or something like that. I'd like to see them try something out on that. This knife is on the Shark Lock, which is, of course, got a spring in here. You pull it back and up, and it releases the blade. Well, actually, you have to pull it up. Yeah, you do. You pull it back and up to release the blade and to disengage. Okay, so on both directions, it pulls back and up. To get over little humps, basically. It's a very, very strong lock. Demco does strong locks. This one, compared to the 8020.5, let's see. It's still got the nice thwack, but if you really listen, I don't know if it's going to come over the camera. That one has a bit more of a thwack, and when you bring it down, it makes more noises. This makes better noises, I'll give it that much. And I think it all comes down to the fact that... What am I doing? If you look in there, you can actually see that the angles on the tang, this particular angle here that it bumps up against for a more like snappy hard release, and this angle, which is more of a severe drop, like it drops more like this, where this one sort of peters out a little bit. That creates a little bit less clicky clackiness, or at least it seems to. So this one feels like it's got a slightly lighter detent, though they both are mushy. That's the nature of this beast. I think harder angles down there would help with that. But it's kind of the nature of the lock, unfortunately. And it's a strong lock, but it's it's not a gimmick, but it's probably unnecessary, especially for a knife this size. I don't know if it's really adding that much here. And some people don't like the fact that it sticks up where, you know, you kind of want to put your thumb. I can see that being an issue. It doesn't bother me too much, but for some, that would probably be annoying. It also adds price to point, which is... I don't know. That's kind of how this whole knife is, right? It's fine. And I don't want to call it a gimmick because it does add something, but let's be honest, even if it didn't, the knife world is full of knives that go above and beyond and do crazy nonsense and don't have to do that to be just a good knife, right? That's part of it. It's just fun or cool or interesting or it adds something to it. But overall, this knife, like the 80-20.5, is a bit underwhelming. Though I will say it's better than the 80-20.5. If you want one, I think this is the better knife. More neutral, ergos, usable front. The blade stock is about the same, but it comes down to a slightly thinner edge. It doesn't get quite as thick as fast. You'll probably have more life on this thing. The S35 has held up better than the CPM 20CV on the other one, or the Demco 20.5. And the only thing you're lacking is the clicky clackiness. It's got it, just not to the same extent. So this seems like a better iteration of the knife, or of this execution around the shark lock, is what I'm trying to say. But the lighter detent, and I also think that the 80-20.5 slot is probably better than the thumb studs, but the lighter detent, the sort of higher price point because of this whole mechanism going on in here, and QC issues. This is the second one of these I've had. The first one had a lot of QC issues. It had some really funky grinds. It had some really funky, weird tightness and scrapiness up in here. I don't remember exactly what else it had. You can probably watch the review if you want, and I go over everything there. But it also has severely off-centered issues, which happens to also be the exact same thing that the 80-20.5 has, and the first one had, and it's too consistent to not be, like, a potential QC issue. And personally, I think these come from the same place. The stonewash is the same, the execution and feel, while the angles are a little bit different, the execution and feel of the shark lock is pretty much the same. And they both are made in Taiwan. So I'm thinking they probably are made in the same place, both for Demco and Flytanium. And I've seen lots of QC issues. I will say this one, the S35, has performed better, though I did, this one has quite a bit of bumps on there, because I may have went digging with this knife. I cut through some roots and stuff like that. I may have used this one not the way it's supposed to be, and it's actually still got a sharp edge. You can just feel some bumps in it. So I'll give them credit for there. The 20CV lost its bite real fast, though. So while I do think this is a decent knife, and yes, it's finger safe, and yes, it's got a really strong lock, and there's a lot to like here, I don't know if they have been refined enough to the point where I want to say it's completely recommendable. Though, once again, I would say it's more recommendable than the 80-20.5. This is coming in like 180, 189, depending on variants and stuff. I think there's a carbon fiber one with different inlays that comes in closer to at 200 or something. It's not bad. Plunge could be improved. In fact, I think the 80-20.5 does the plunge grind well, and this one actually, look, see that? They hit the plunge on the when they were sharpening, I think, and that's probably the belt. The 80-20.5 does the sharpening drill better because the plunge drops more dramatically and faster. But it's just little details like that where this one wins some, the other one wins some, etc., etc. I do like this more, but I don't know. Just not amazingly enthused on these things, right? They're fine knives. Lock stick. Why is there lock stick? I don't know why there's lock stick just there. I must have something on the tang. Probably dirt. I did go digging with this thing. Do not use your knives as a shovel. Use a shovel as a shovel. That's what that is intended for. But overall, the arcade is an interesting piece, and I do think it's probably overall better than the 80-20.5. But the Shark Lock by itself is just not doing it for me. So, that's my take on these things. Like, subscribe if you would like to. I would greatly appreciate it. Beyond that, I will link this knife where you can buy it down below. I will link the previous review and comparison if you're so inclined to check out any of those. That'd be great too. Otherwise, I think we're done here. Thanks for watching. See you later. Blah, 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 blah. Fumbled out the end. Right in the end. Yeah. See ya.